Hi, Molly. This is incredible. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really proud of them.
That is, I can only imagine like your school, your, future, like your next generation from your school. Such an amazing game. And also, what an amazing moment for volleyball in the US.
Yeah, I think just being at the match, I flew down to Tampa and I mean, we're setting attendance records and viewership records. Like, I didn't just want to be there, for the amazing volleyball, but then of course, like my Longhorns are there. I absolutely love that staff. Most of them are still there from whenever I played there. And so it's just so easy. They're like family to me. So coming down there and supporting them. And then those girls have just put in so much work throughout the season. And I just had to see it live, and it's such a surreal moment. The level of play I think is so high. They were so calm and confident. It was just I'm a very proud alumni, very very proud.
And you should be. And also you should be a very proud I mean you're coordinating players right now as a manager at Athletes United, the oldest professional volleyball league in the United States. And I have to say, there was a lot of, like, when the story was published before the final, what I realized how much international eyeballs volleyball gets from outside, which is interesting because I always think I mostly write about the most popular sport in the world, which is soccer. But I feel like volleyball, especially women's volleyball, is incredibly popular outside of United States and through these leagues that are coming up, just came out and like popping in the next few months again. It's a new moment, a watershed moment for the sport. How are you looking at it from where you sit?
Yeah, so I graduated from the University of Texas in 2016, and your only option to continue your career was to go overseas. So I played overseas for 3 years and retired and retired. And then I got a text from Jordan Larson, and she said, "Hey, would you still want to play if we were here in the States?" And I was like, "That just sounds not real. Like that would be a dream come true." And it was Athletes Unlimited, and which is now been going on for 3 years, and then that now there are two other leagues that are popping up, and so now you can earn a livable wage in the US, stay here and play at a high level, because we have so many high level athletes that have to go overseas and we lose them, and the fans lose them. Like, we still want to have that connection between the college fans. I mean, look how many people are watching and showing up. Tampa was not a home court for anybody, but Nebraska and Texas fans were there. Wisconsin fans were still there. Like, people just wanted to watch high level volleyball, and they wanted to watch their favorite players. So having these leagues, PVF, Athletes Unlimited, League One volleyball, having them here in the States and offering money that's, comparable to overseas, like, it's huge. We can now keep these athletes here, continue the fandom. I think more players will actually continue playing, because it's difficult to just move your life overseas and miss your family, miss out on things, that are happening
Mhm.
back at home. Um, I, it's a dream come true now.
And when you went overseas, the reason you were there only for 3 years is because, I mean, we can like, I know a lot of volleyball players who stay and just basically form their lives there. I guess for you, you wanted to come back home. You didn't stay after your 3 year period in Germany. Do you see that happen often? People are like homesick, they want to come back, and they just don't have the same opportunities here back in the day.
Yeah, I think it's that they miss out on, the weddings and the birthdays and all the events that are happening at home. They just miss family. I actually had a wonderful experience overseas. I still keep in touch with those people that I, played with. But it was also like I felt like I couldn't be anything else really besides the volleyball player. And I wanted to come back to the States and like use my degree and like start to network and like kind of make that transition without really stopping. Like, I wish I didn't have to choose, but like having these leagues here in the US, I think, in the off season you can pick up an internship or like do other things outside, do things through the club. Like, there are tons of employment opportunities, I think, while you're playing. Also, NIL deals, you can keep those brand relationships while you're here. there's just so much more opportunity than just being a volleyball player. Whereas I felt like that overseas, because I didn't, it's a foreign country. I didn't feel like I could build my life there. And I
Hmm.
kudos to the people that can. I think to be a nomad like that is very impressive. Um, but yeah, I think the opportunities here are vast.
That is such a great, I think, angle. You just mentioned NIL and how other athletes in the United States who finish college and they have a professional league waiting for them, how they can not only take advantage of this new opportunity when they're younger, they can also build a career and opportunities and speaking engagements. It's their own country. This is their fan base. I think the largest fan base they have, it will always be here in some ways, from the college to the professional league. And obviously, when you're just visiting, no matter how popular volleyball is outside of United States, and how I'm sure your experience there with full stadiums looking and cheering for the team you played, it's again great. But there's no business like sports business in the United States.
That is very true. I've had the pleasure of both working for Athletes Unlimited and playing for Athletes Unlimited, and I absolutely I can't ever not be in sports going forward. Like there's just I'm so fulfilled at the end of every game day of like, oh, I felt like I like really accomplished something, and you don't get that with every job, and sports in the US, the fandom is huge, and like as we know, volleyball is growing exponentially. So why would I step outside of this circle? Like it's only giving me so much.
Can you also give us maybe like for those who are not really had a chance to catch Athletes United in the league and how the games are happening? What is the schedule like? What is the format like? And how is different than, to say, club volleyball? And you,
Yeah, Athletes Unlimited is a shorter season, so it's 5 weeks of competition, and there's a leaderboard. So each of the teams they rotate each week based on the players' stat points, their win points, how often they're winning, and MVP points, which the players vote on. And based on where you are on this leaderboard, the top four players get to choose their teams and draft their teams each week. It's a very player-led organization. Our coaches are facilitators, and that they are still coaching, but the players, the captains specifically, and the players are working with the coaches to develop the best lineup, develop the best practice plan, scouting. It's more of a collaborative relationship. Um, and it's super fast paced. It's 3 games a week per team, and only 5 weeks. And it's 44 athletes, 11 per roster, and it's the kind of thing you feel like the entire league feels like a team, like because
hmm.
the teams are shuffling each week, and so I didn't ever feel like it was us against them. It was like I had 43 other teammates with me, and the bonding is wonderful. I always feel so connected at the end of every season. Like I don't want to stay. Like it only 5 weeks. Like it happens so fast, but it's high level. It's fast paced. It's quick. So I think it's going to be a really great supplement to these leagues. It's almost like the All Star League of PVF and League One.
Yeah, I was going to ask you as a follow-up question. So the 5 weeks is designed in a way that the player can play in another league and just come and do the 5 week, this super tournament, the playoffs, and then go back and play in a regular season league if the league, dates match their availability, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Which works out perfectly for us. We actually moved to the fall because of our ESPN contract. It just made more sense to be at the same time as college volleyball, and that's those are the broadcast slots that ESPN gave us. And it worked out perfectly because now these other two leagues are happening right after us, and so you're able to watch both, be a fan of both. It's also amazing for the athletes and that you supplement your income. So it's bonus driven, like based on where you land on the leaderboard. But as an athlete, as a female athlete, especially, making more income is huge, and more opportunities to play at a high level. Athletes Unlimited is really great in that we have, we're always trying to recruit foreigners as well, because the best volleyball is played overseas, and so having high level players come here and play in the US, experience the US, and most, I'm going to say actually all, have enjoyed their experience, and I hope that means that they stay and play in the other leagues as well. I don't know. I've always wanted to host all my teammates that I played with overseas. Like, I wish the U.S. had a league. I want to come play there. So now they can. It's amazing for everybody.
Just to, because, we always focus on business side of things, can you give us a ballpark figure is what a professional volleyball player can earn? The top and the high and the low, maybe limitations and figures for, just to compare with Europe. How is it similar or different in still today with all these new leagues happening?
Yeah. So, an athlete's unlimited. I think the lowest that you can make is 11,500 in 5 weeks. And then the highest you're looking towards 45, 50,000 based on like number one, I think earns that. And then, so that's a ballpark of based on where you land on the leaderboard. And then League One and PVF, it's anywhere from 60 to 100. Um, I think that's like a pretty comparable salary to overseas. And I think it's only going to grow from here on out. If we're putting these games on TV, I think the investment is just going to keep growing. Oh yeah, I kind of want to. I want to talk about the draft. We've seen PBF did a draft for our athletes, or the college athletes, and it's so cool. Volleyball hasn't really seen that, or they haven't seen it in decades, and fans are like, oh, I'm so excited I get to see this player move on to this team. And I was interacting with some of the Texas fans, and Asia O'Neal, number one draft pick, absolutely crushed it throughout her 6 years at Texas and in the finals. And she's going to a team in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio. And so many of the fans there are like, I can't wait to buy tickets. I'm already booking a trip. Like, there's such a connection piece that just like lit a fire for women's volleyball. I think like this moment right now, like I really think it's already starting to have like some kind of turning point, but like the fandom is growing so much, and I felt like I like watched it happen whenever I was in Tampa.